fly. I be rolling with you, mommy, I be feeling the motion. When I'm inside you, I be deep as the ocean. When it comes to your love, can't lie, it be strong as a potion. That's why me and you forever be coasting. Let's roll. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah, she so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. Co-pilot.
Yo, what up, y'all? Y'all know what it is. It's your boy Rob, man, and we back with another one, man. Sparking conversation. And like I always start the show off each and every week, man, with a bunch of thank yous, man, to all the people that be downloading the audio version of this podcast, man. Y'all keeping us alive out there in the audio world. It's so dope, man. We streaming on all the major platforms that you get your podcast. And we out here, we doing some numbers too, man. Like I'm just thankful. So I just always want to start the show off just giving thanks to all the people that actually take the time out to jump on when we go live, and also take the time to watch the playbacks, because y'all do all the time, man. And it's really dope. And even the clips that we put up, you know what I mean? Like, we understand too that a couple people, they get in their feelings a little bit, but that's what it's about, yo. That's why we titled the joint Sparking Conversation, because without conversation, you know, or communication, yo, how can we get any understanding? You know what I'm saying? So before we start, we like to give a shout out to all the people that support the show. Y'all know the links are in the description. So just, you know, check them out, go through them. Don't forget that if you are a person out there that has a desire to have your own business and all these other things, remember, business credit, even if you don't, like if it's just ways you want to maneuver around life and you don't want it to affect your personal, learn about that business credit. I promise y'all, man, if y'all take the opportunity or the time to just learn about it, all right? And then if you need questions answered, ask the right questions, find the people, whoever you need, and just get it down. I promise you, if you learn how to use business credit, you can help leverage and you can just build wealth from there. It's like one of them things where it's just something about information that when we don't know about it, it changes us once we figure it out. It's like you can't unknow something once you know it. You can't unsee something once you see it, all right? So I just want to throw that out there. Y'all click the link in the description. It's a free ebook that breaks down the difference between business credit and personal credit and how business credit works. So it's no excuse. It's a free ebook. Download it, read through it. It's a short read, but it got a lot of information in it. So check it out, yo. All right, back. So I also want to say, man, you know, it's a lot that we was going to talk about this week, yo, but we're going to do something a little different because we got a special guest that we're going to bring on tonight, all right? We got my man, John C. Barnett. He's going to come on and join us in the show. He's a civil rights activist, man. I think he's based out of the Charlotte area. I did a whole lot of looking and researching. He be really everywhere. So technically, the say way based out of really don't matter. Wherever the issue is, he pretty much is going to get there, and we're going to make something shake. You know what I mean? So we're going to talk to him a little bit because, you know, it's a lot of questions that I want to ask personally because as I see in our community, man, it's a lot of us that know what the problems are. We know what the issues are. And then sometimes we don't know what's going on behind the scenes that's really, you know, the inner works of certain things or why we have to deal with life the way we have to. But it's good to ask certain questions because I believe that, you know, nowadays, man, it's so easy for us to really have to rally together when it's, you know, a us versus them type of thing or when it's a white versus black type of thing. But when we out here doing it to each other, man, I think that that's just as important for us to try to get some understanding on what the solutions is so we can really stack our numbers and not keep deplenishing or depleting, you know, our ranks, man, because we out here killing each other and they not. And let's even speak about that because y'all saw what happened out there with the whole little drunk community that was going on out there. They up there fighting the cops. Not one single person got tasered. They didn't get shot. I mean, man, they just straight up having a fight with the police, man. And you see the straight up treatment of how we get treated differently. And we ain't even be escalating like that. We could be compliant and we still get these types of things held against us, man. So I just wanted to say, man, this is probably a good reason why we had John come on today because of what's been trending all week, because we definitely was going to talk about it. So it's a good thing that we got my man on. So I'm going to bring the crew up in a minute. I got the crew in the building. We're gonna figure this out, and then I'm gonna bring them on, and then we're gonna get some things going, man. We're gonna chop it up. We're gonna have a dope conversation. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna ask a few questions. We're gonna find out what he been doing. You know, and I really want you people to kind of check out. Like, we're gonna talk a little bit about the resume too and what he's been doing. And, you know, I think a lot of y'all will probably be very interested in some of the things that he's been a part of, what's involving what we consider civil rights, you know. So, yeah, we're going to get into that, yo. I bet. So before we do that, let me bring the crew up. You know what I'm saying? Let me check and see who in the building. You know how they do. They come in with the energy. What up, Meek?
What's up? What's up?
I see double. What's going on, y'all? Hey. Ellie, what's up, bro? There you
Back
go.
in the flesh. What's
in the
up?
Flesh, man. Yo, what's been good, man?
And you know me crime fighting, man.
I already know you've been saving people, yo. I already
Saving these
you.
hoes. Saving these hoes.
Oh, come on, man. Come on, man. Don't do it like that, yeah. He out there super saving. Yo, but you know, hey, you know how that go, man. With it's a lot you can do with an EBT card, yo.
Facts.
But listen, yo, shout out to y'all. I know y'all. I want to ask y'all how y'all week been going. You know what I mean? So, but I've been talking to y'all all week, so I guess I could talk to Kev. You know what I'm saying? Kev, what you been doing? You been all right?
I've been all right, man. You know, work. Trying to keep my head down, stay out the way. You know.
Amen, y'all. It's been a lot though going on, y'all. I wanted to talk about some of the things we're gonna talk about next week because I feel like it's important, man. We gotta talk about what's going on in Hawaii. We gotta talk about why celebrities are out here buying up the land over there, but up here endorsing the people of America to give and donate, you know, to Hawaii, but they sending billions of dollars over to Ukraine by mistake. Like, it's really corny out here. So it's a lot we're gonna jump into. But before we do that, I'm gonna bring my man on. We're gonna bring my man John C. Barnett on. And we're gonna chop it up with him, man. I came to come across this brother because I was invited on a panel to speak for a young lady in the Raleigh area, man. Her name is LaDeja Nelson, man. She and her boyfriend, you know, they've been in jail for about 3.5 years or so for I don't even want to say what it's for because technically the way that it all looked like, it just looked like they were being blamed for something that happened. Well, you know, they were there at a certain point, but what happened to the guy happened weeks later, and you know, they never got a fair trial since then. They didn't get, it's just been really treated like, you know, like I'm talking about the bottom of your shoe when it comes to, you know, just trying to get justice, man. Like if anything, these people should have been had a court date or anything, but they haven't, you know, and it's sad that, you know, that's the type of things that we have to go through as people just because of the skin color we was born in, and it's whack. But I'm gonna bring John up real quick and introduce him to the crew and see what's good. John, what's going on, bro?
How y'all doing? Peace and blessings. How y'all doing?
Good.
All right, we in the building.
I got this app to work, so I'm excited. Hey, Mika, CJ, and Kev, how y'all doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing good.
All right. Well, I'm glad we finally got it to work, man. It got it to work right on time. That's how it is. When it's supposed to be right, it'll get done when it's supposed to, right? All right, so look, we just want to introduce you to the people, you know what I mean? Introduce you to the audience and stuff like that and let them know exactly who you are. I felt like who better than you to tell you, you know what I'm saying? So if you don't mind, just go ahead and tell the people what's going on with you, man, and who you are, B.
Yeah, I sure will. Thanks, and thanks, Rob, for having me on your show again. I'm a new subscriber to your show, and I just did a big text blast about 60 people. So a lot of people should be tuning in from Sunshine Anderson to her daddy to people in Mississippi and the whole nine in Charlotte. I'm living in Charlotte, North Carolina. But I started out like probably I came from the humble beginnings. I'm pretty sure just like you and Kev, from the neighborhood, graduated from school, and then all of a sudden your friends start disappearing, going to prison. So I'm from South Carolina. I grew up in South Carolina. And I guess I go straight to graduate from high school, went to the military, came back. All my friends were in prison, about 9 of them, and my cousins. So I began to write them in prison. And before I started writing them in prison, in '94, my brother was shot in the back by my cousin over a pair of tennis shoes. So I actually had a life-altering experience. I actually ended up watching my brother take his last breath, and that just motivated me to just reach out to our brothers in prison. But then after 1995 came, I went to the Million Man March, and Minister Farrakhan told us to go home and write one brother in prison. So since Chris was my cousin, I began to write my brother's killer in prison. And I was on my way to DC, so I was listening to Tupac, reading Malcolm X's book, and going to church on Sunday. So I put all that together and came up with an acronym called Thug, because I'm a big Tupac fan. You know, I just was listening to his rap music. You know, you got to understand that his book was being studied. His book of poetry was being studied at Harvard University after he died. So I'm more intrigued by his passion and his knowledge. And so I came up with Thug when I left the Million Man March. I just called it Thug, walked out on a limb, but I wanted it to stand for something positive. I found out that the Fugees, you know, the Grammy-nominated group that was busting down the charts, Lauryn Hill and Wyclef and Pras, Free Pras, by the way, Refugee was the name that they was calling Wyclef Jean, and I didn't know that. So they said a refugee from Haiti will never be a rapper. So he took the R and the E off of refugee and he came up with the Fugees. He said, I'm gonna show y'all. And then 12 million records later, a few Grammys, you know, they're now in the history books. I wanted Thug to capture people's eyes, but to stand for something positive. So I came up with True Healing Under God, and I started setting up prison outreaches for Black pastors. You know, and if you don't know, when Dr. King was alive, there was 300,000 Black men in prison, and today we got 1.3 million. So his dream is a nightmare. So I began to write my brother's killer and a lot of my friends, and then it just grew to like 700 inmates in 13 states. 2002, I wrote Reverend Sharpton in jail through my prison outreach. Shockingly enough, he wrote me back and invited me to New York City. And then I began to work with the National Action Network for 6 years. So I carried Reverend Sharpton's coffee and carried his briefcase and the whole nine, kind of like a little student, like Malcolm following Elijah Muhammad. But then in 2008, I just took it upon myself to go full-time in civil rights. So I'm still a member of the National Action Network. Myself and Tamika Mallory, believe it or not, was working in the office for Reverend Sharpton. So she started Until Freedom, and then I started Thug, and we kind of both came together during the Shankrella Robinson case. So right now, Thug, True Healing Under God, in closing, we have operated in 17 states. I don't have a laptop until last week. This nurse, who was the clerk of court in Charlotte, bought me a laptop. I was bragging about the fact I'm in 17 states, I don't have a laptop. So she literally just bought me a laptop last week. So shout out to them sisters. Kiana, I got to make sure I plug them. And Kiana. I'll call her Q and Kiana. And so what we've been doing, I've been directly involved with dealing with real issues. I can go on and on. I tell people I got more cases than R. Kelly got hits. You know, we worked on the Shankrella Robinson case. I sent pink envelopes to Mississippi. I worked with the Emmett Till case, looking for an old white lady that conspired and orchestrated the death of Emmett Till. Right before we filed a lawsuit, me and my big brother, attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz from Atlanta, once we filed that lawsuit, she died.
Right.
And of course, we later ended up going to the White House. We dropped the Till family off at the White House, and they went and watched the Emmett Till movie inside the White House. Then we got through that case, and then Mississippi came. 6 deputies tortured 2 Black men, Michael Jenkins and Eddie Parker. It's on CNN right now, and just shot the brother in his mouth in the house, no warrant. Accused him of selling drugs, all because they didn't want 2 Black men to hang out with white women. It was like Emmett Till all over again. So we have recently put pressure on them. I initiated direct civil rights because the lawyers can't do what I do. So that's the blessing behind me. I'm ungoverned. There's only 3 people can tell me what to do: my mama, my pastor, and Al Sharpton. All 3 of them crazy. So lawyers can't move and do demonstrations, you know, unless you got Ben Crump money. A lot of lawyers are challenged by the state bar to do demonstrations.
Right.
They want to use their legal knowledge to win cases and not public appeal. So a lot of times lawyers like Benjamin Crump, I worked with him with the Shankrella Robinson case, blessed to have his cell number. Malik Zulu Shabazz, I work with 32 lawyers because I can do things that they can't do, and that's exposure. And that's what we did in Mississippi with those 6 cops. By the time I got through whooping their ass, excuse my French, they actually bowed down and said we guilty of torturing Michael Jenkins. If y'all don't know this story, it's gonna blow your mind. It's that they were literally tased, they were waterboarded, they put sheets over their head, poured water and milk, threw eggs on them, made them try to suck on a dildo. Then they began to tell Michael Jenkins to suck on the gun. Once he sucked on this gun by Hunter Elwood, one of the deputies, he pulled the trigger, didn't go off. The second time it went off and shattered the left side of Michael Jenkins' jaw. Surprisingly enough, he lived. So not only did we get 6 cops fired, which is unknown and unheard of in Mississippi, we made history with 6 deputies being locked up eating cold grits right now. But we also filed for a $400 million lawsuit. And it's going to be very easy to win that case because the deputies just pleaded guilty.
Well, yo, I ain't gonna lie. When I looked up the case, man, it made me mad. I'm still at a place where it still kind of angers me to see the type of things that we have to deal with just because of the way that we, our skin color, just because of how we were born and how we were chosen. We have to deal with things that come with such like acts of violence in that manner where they'll go that far. Luckily, he didn't die, but just the fact that he had to go through that, I don't even know if that's considered lucky to be shot in your jaw at all. I mean, I guess just the fact of the matter that, his family still have him here. But at the same time, we know it's a lot of things that happen to us that go unreported.
Yeah. Michael Jenkins actually said something that CNN used as a quote. He said, "These deputies killed me. I just didn't die."
Oh, wow.
And it's a miracle that the bullet did not go in his brain cavity or down his throat. It literally went to the left side, but I think I called him, he was a sacrifice for so many other people who have been done wrong in Mississippi. And this is the time that we as the young generation, the new vibrant activists and lawyers that's in place now, that God has blessed us be in these positions to fight aggressively, not go to these bunch of banquets, and scratch where it doesn't itch. You have to be very aggressive. And I think that comes from your experiences. I got 9 friends in prison. I rode around in drug dealers with guns in the car, 9mm. I hung out with the Nation of Islam where they was telling me they hate white folks. So I've had a lot of experiences that have kind of given me some tough skin to just deal with the reality. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was going to be my next question for you. Like, mentally, man, how are you when you're dealing with all these things, man? Because
okay, say that again.
I said mentally, how are you with dealing with a lot of these things? Because I'm sure it takes a toll on you to have these thoughts. I get the action, but just the thought behind what you're getting ready to do,
You know what? I'm literally numb to it. I think I've seen people die in my neighborhood, people stabbed, people shot. I mean, when you deal with so much problem, when you've been through the fire, then when you get burned in the future, really you become numb to it. So I think that I'm not affected at all. Starbucks, hang out with good friends. I keep a lot of positive energy around me. I don't eat. I'm healthy. I don't eat meat. Don't eat pork. Don't eat chicken. And I think I really reach out to the ancestors. Like when I speak, I literally say, God, give me the spirit of Malcolm X today. Give me the spirit of Medgar Evers. What would Medgar say today? So forth and so on. And so that's what's helped me. But I'm literally not. I'm numb to it. I mean, I've been doing this 17 years. It's like, okay, somebody got shot. Let me go get a lawyer and file a lawsuit. And, the police did this. Let me go get them fired. So we've been blessed to get 32 cops fired and 31 people out of jail in prison. And I think it's a little addictive because if I get a cop fired, first one I got fired, I was like, hey, I can do this again. I heard Michael Jackson and Usher got addicted to Grammys. Michael won 8 Grammys, but Thriller, he wanted to win another Grammy and another Grammy. And so for me, it's just the total opposite. When I get one cop, I got one cop fired, I could get 16 cops fired. Now I'm at 20. And just recently, just last month, myself and Attorney Malik Shabazz, we got 6 stuff. I'm looking for 6 more, because I know the injustices that we live at in this country is not going anywhere. And I'm almost beginning to think that what Minister Farrakhan was saying, the only way we're going to have some peace, y'all, is we got to separate some things. Now, I know you ain't got to leave corporate America and you ain't got to tell LeBron to leave the NBA, but there are some things that we got to keep all black. My mother in Charlotte, North Carolina, I got to tell you this, Rob.
Yeah, definitely.
5,700 black boys have been suspended from school. And I told my mother this. My mother said, why all them boys getting suspended? So I don't know. She said, nobody got suspended in our school. I said, why is that, Mom? She said, we had black teachers that was over us and they wanted to make sure that we prosper and we get an education. She said, no one. And so when I look at the fact that we still putting black boys on the bus in Charlotte after 6,000 have been suspended, who's the fool? C.L. Smooth has C.L. Smooth and Pete Rockets. C.L. Smooth has a hook. He says, a man that can't teach you right can't treat you right.
Facts.
And so I think we have to kind of reevaluate where we are. When Dr. King was alive, as I told you, we had less men in prison. We got more men in prison now. And we got less men active in the community. So I think it's imperative that the black man stand up, respect our black women from Sandra Bland all the way to the sister down on Main Street. It's imperative that the black man take his rightful position. And I think that'll resolve some of the issues. I'm gonna give you this for free. I studied why black men and why my friends were in prison. And I found out that 91% didn't have a loving father in the home. This is what the study said. Now I looked at that word, I said, wow, it said loving father. It didn't just say a daddy. Papa was a Rolling Stone and the devil's a lie. It said loving father. And because we have so many men in jail, I'm gonna bet you $1 million that when you ask these men in prison, where was your daddy? They won't be able to tell you. He was around, but he wasn't active and he wasn't initiating that love that most black men need. So the reason we got these, as America calls them, Frankensteins, these young people, these thugs that they've created that tend to be out of control, pants pulled down. They listen to some of the music I like, because I like Young Thug and I like, the whole nine, but I don't let it take over and succumb my mind. But what America said is we created Frankensteins. And in 1953, the most feared man in this country was a black man. And in 2023, I was a white man. And in 2023, the most feared man in this country is a 16-year-old boy walking down the street with Skittles and iced tea. So I always ask people, I wonder, how did it change? In 1953, Dr. King was scared he's going to get hit by a rock. My brother was scared. My daddy was scared. But in 2023, the most feared man in the country right now is a black man. You got to ask yourself, why is that? You get on the elevator. I'm in the courthouse in Charlotte. White lady grabbing a pocketbook. We get these fear factors. We get these Karen and Becky's out here. They are scared to death of us. And so, I think, again, it goes back to that fatherhood.
Right.
Cut me off if I'm long-winded.
No. Go ahead. Look, this is why we had you on, man, because it makes no sense for us not to have you on and not to listen. You know what I mean? I think everything you're saying is stuff that we all have to. I think we all think about these things. I think the one thing that you did do so far in the midst of that was you came up with solutions. A lot of times people don't have solutions for the problems that we deal with. We're always reiterating the problem. And I think we all know the problems. I mean, no matter what, direction it comes from, we know the problems. We just got to get a little bit more in tune with what the solutions are to help fix these problems, because
that's
they
right.
can be fixed.
Exactly. I think 89% of the problems in the black community is the black man's fault. I'm going to tell you why. When Adam was first encountered by Eve's mistake, this pastor talks about this a lot. He didn't ask for Eve. He asked Adam, where art thou?
Mm-hmm.
He asked the man of the house, the man of the garden, where are you? And why have you allowed your woman to go astray, talking to a serpent at a tree? So, and in reality, the responsibility falls on the black man. I'm going to tell you why. It said that the men are in prison because there's no loving father. These boys are get suspended from school because there's no father. If daddy was at home, he would whoop his butt. Mama can't control this young black boy, and she sure can't control 3 black boys. I know a lot of mothers, they got 3, 4 boys. They relentlessly staying at soccer practice. Football practice. We don't do soccer, football and basketball to keep them active.
Right.
And then when you look at the way the boys are walking around with their pants pulled down, for example. I had OGs in my neighborhood that they didn't even care if they was kidding me or not. They would tell me what to do. Second thing we don't get whoopings no more. So, but when I think ultimately with all the problems that we have going on, I'm telling you, we just upgrade the black man a little bit in all of those areas, I'm almost certain things will get better. I got to tell you this. National Geographic did a study, y'all. And y'all gonna love this one. And they did a study of African elephants. And what they had all these elephants in this tribe, right? In this village. And what they did was they took the African, they programmed them first, like most black folks is in this country, right? Go to work, clock out, clock in, go to dentist's office, sign here. You program. You go to church at 11 o'clock on Sunday. And a lot of Afro Americans are programmed, and a lot of us need to be deprogrammed. So what they did was they began to what they began to do with the elephants is that they told them, they programmed them at 5 o'clock. They would sound this alarm. Elephants would go to the trough and begin to eat. They did this for like 2 weeks. They sound this alarm. Elephants would hear the noise. They would go to the trough and begin to eat. So what they did after 2 weeks, they took the father elephants out of the tribe. Right? They took them away, miles away. So the only elephants that was left was the mother and the young symbols. I'll call them the young youthful elephants. When they would sound the alarm, the elephants would begin to knock the mothers, hit the mothers with their trunks. And after about a week, when it was time to eat, they would knock over the trough. Then nobody would eat. So after about 2 or 3 weeks, watch this. All of the elephants, the youthful elephants, had taken over the tribe, just like the young blacks are doing. My brothers and sisters, my brothers in particular, on the streets. America is scared of these young black boys. They creating gang units and, you know, the whole nine, and scorpion units. You know, shout out to them cops. Shout out to the police department in Memphis that charged those guys today. I think Tyree Nichols is trending as far as their sentencing. So this is what happened. So after a while, the mothers just didn't even bother to even try to direct the young elephants. In the end, what happened is these young youthful elephants had taken over. And then one great day, y'all, what happened was they opened up the village and they allowed the fathers to come back into the village. Now watch this. Just the sound of the father's elephants made the young youthful elephants bag up. Within days, everything was back in order. This ain't people, these are elephants. But they did this study to kind of show us a picture of ourselves. Gotcha. So that's why I'm real big on men, you know, in the church. Like you got these non-denominational churches and they ain't got no men involved. There's no more deacons. There's no more ushers. There's no more trustees, you know. And so I'm in the church.
That's because these dudes be pumping on all the women in there. But I'm gonna give you something though, like, because that's the thing that be going on with nature. I think that's a problem with a lot of us, that we forgot that we need to pay attention to nature. Because one thing that you did explain about the father not being around is that is natural for him to be there. But then, you know, I think it was like maybe a couple of shows ago, we had a young lady on and we were talking. She was talking about domestic violence. And then one of the questions that I brought up was that, do you think it's because the men or fathers are not in the home? And I think it all goes down to like the way the perception is of whether a man is needed or not. I think it's just an adjustment that need to be mentally for all of us. Like I think men and women in our community that help get the balance back right, because there is a set of women who they really feel like they don't need the man in the house or around, and when it comes to their children. And then you got those that are make it rarely available for them, their men to come see their children, and then they don't. So it's an imbalance either way it goes. So I think like it shouldn't be too much separation between men and women when it comes to these conversations about who need to be in the house and not. And I think that's where it goes wrong, is that when we separate it, when it needs to be a communicative, like a community of communication between both genders that agree that this is what the structure, or this is what may be the problem. So let me ask you this, and the sense of another solution that may go on. I know we said one thing about the fathers not being in the house, but what do you think? I think I saw something up there on your page when you was about reparations and things like that.
Yes.
Now, do you think that it's based on, now we know the fathers being in the house, but how can we, what is the solution base that you feel like for us as men, where we could come together and do more things that can help us financially too as well, to be able to be the type of leader that we need to be when it comes to the financial part of being able to raise children?
Well, I think reparations is going to be scary, because if you give us some money, the way we spend money, I mean, I seen Killer Mike's, show that he had on TV, and he had said that the Italian community, when they bring money in community, it takes about 10 days for it to go out of their community. Right. It means they keep a lot of money inside. The Jews is 14 days. White people are 7 days, 4 to 7 days. It said that black folks, when we get money, he said it's gone in 8 hours. That's disturbing. So the challenging thing about finance is that, number one, I think if we want to lift up this nation, I really believe that Minister Farrakhan, and I'm not a Muslim, but I love his plan in reference to utilizing reparations to uplift a nation. And I think when you look at the Hispanics coming out of the community, they got their own little village going on. Chinatown in New York, they got their own thing going on. And I think for us, unfortunately, we don't have our own thing going on. It's just split. We're sharing our wealth with others. And so I think first and foremost, the reparation movement is actually a big convention that they do in Atlanta. I'm pretty much supporting my brother, Attorney Shabazz, who will be one of the keynote speakers. But the conversation has been overdue. And I think that at this point right now, America don't feel as though they owe us anything. If that be the case, they would have given it to us already. They've been gave money to the Indians. They've been gave them money, land in. Yeah, they've been giving them land in Oklahoma. So I'm be honest with you, if they ain't gave it to us yet, I doubt if they will.
Right.
That's why they shoot us the PPP loans and the stimulus checks just to keep us numb. Farrakhan talked about putting a pacifier in the mouth. You shoot Trayvon Martin in his chest, put a pacifier in his mouth, give the mother a foundation, and rock him back to sleep. Michael Brown gets shot 5 times. I went to his funeral in Ferguson. 1 in the eyeball, with a pacifier in the mouth, give a GoFundMe, and rock him back to sleep. And I think what we have to do is realize we got to quit being put to sleep and be aggressive in what we want and have an actual leader. It's sad because we got so many different organizations. We got Farrakhan, Jesse Jackson, Al, we got the Black Lives Matter movement. You got the LGBT community out there. People don't even know who to follow. I had a mother in Charlotte with her daughter wanting to do something with civil rights in Charlotte during the riots. Brother got shot by the police. And she called me, she said, John, I don't know where to go. I said, what you mean you don't know where to go? She said, 8 people doing something. And when Dr. King marched, everybody had one voice. When Dr. King was like, everybody was a Negro. But nowadays, we got 3 types of groups in our community. We got the bougie blacks that think they done made it, trying to make it to a reality show and spending money on pocketbooks that they don't need and just lavishly spending money, staying in a high-priced apartment downtown Ballantyne in Charlotte, near Charlotte, and ain't got no food in the refrigerator and don't know how to make macaroni and cheese. And then you got the middle class. That's all of us on this phone right now. They don't know how to make macaroni and cheese. Y'all laughing, I'm keeping it 100. I can't find 30 women in Charlotte under the age of 39 that can make macaroni and cheese, like my mama. Facts. But I don't know brothers that can change oil either. So that's another story. So my point is, back to my point. Then you got the bougie blacks. You got the Clarence Thomas. You got the O.J. Simpson, right? And you got the Condoleezza Rice. You got that out there, right? And you got Ketanji Brown. I know she's in a sorority, but she married to a white man. So that's a whole nother story, right? So you got all them out there. Then you got the middle class. That's us on this line, making sure that our phone don't get cut off tomorrow. Making sure that cash app coming through so we can pay some bills and some light bills, or making sure we can get some shoes next week because there might be a nice concert going on next week. And then you got that other group that ain't working, with their pants pulled down, and they call them thugs. The ones that I'm not afraid to walk up to in Charlotte and roll down my window and say, hey, bro, come here. Let me talk to you for a minute. How you doing, man? You all right? And so we got 3 different groups. Keep in mind, in 1960, 65, everybody was a Negro. My daddy had rocks thrown at him in Clover, South Carolina, and so did Dr. King in Alabama. So we got to be able to figure out how we're going to get all these 3 groups back together. Get the reality show stars to sit down with Colin Powell, and then Colin Powell got to sit down with some of these young rappers with their pants pulled down. Because what I'm telling you, they got us split up. And we cannot be unified if we're split up like that. It's imperative that the Deacon Board talk to Junebug.
But that's the thing that I think that did split us up, is the fact of money coming from poverty, because a lot of these people who we expect to come together, whether it's entertainers and stuff like that, these guys, as we know, they don't put themselves in a position where they can't really speak out in certain ways because it goes against their bottom line too. So, the fact that we need money in our community to lift the nation, but we do have people in our community that is being pretty much pacified with money. It's just a thing where it's like, yo, we just got to just an opinion of mine that we got to figure out like-minded people, and maybe not based on who they are or what they are, but people that are like-minded, because we could change some things financially if we could put the right type of group of people together with the right mindset. But let me ask the ladies something real quick while we got them here, so they can represent for the ladies as well too. So CJ and Tamika, like what we was talking about now, based on what he was saying, like, do y'all agree or disagree about how important it is that you would think that will help with probably a lot of the change in our community by having like the fathers in the house, but more active fathers, not just having somebody in there that can pay bills and shit?
Oh, I completely agree. I mean, I'm married. Me and my husband, we have 2 kids. like he's active. Like it's a clear cut different from what I personally grew up with. I mean, he grew up in a 2-parent household, so he know the importance and the dynamic of family. Like he, the same ideology basically that Mr. Barnett and other men of that caliber has. He has. I was just lucky to find someone in high school and be with for the rest of my life. He had that concept at a very young age, just his characteristics, his morals, his goals, everything, it stood on something different because he had an active dad in his household. So, I mean, I just so happen to be blessed to have that ideal guy. But I highly agree because it does show a difference. It's if single women, if unfortunately in a situation where, they are the only parent, it's very unfortunate. But I mean, it's very important to have an active man in the house because that changes the dynamic in the future, even the mindset of like you guys as kids. Like that's real. Like that's why most of the time, even with not having active dads or active males in their life, we used to have community clubs. We used to have a bunch of things for these kids, but once we stripped everything, or once they stripped everything away, like it left them with nothing. So I feel like that's also contribute outside of those that didn't have the ability to benefit from having like an active male or active dad in their life. We did have these community like settings and these activities for these kids, but like they fucking us up. Like, school. I mean,
no, you good? No, you good. You know how we do.
They us up. Like they really tearing us down. But we gotta get back to, like you said, balance. Like we gotta get back to it. That's the only way.
Type of balance.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I didn't grow up with my father actively in my childhood. He chose drugs over us, which was fine. But my kids' fathers, I may have 2 different fathers for my kids, but they are very active in my kids' lives. I co-parent with both. One of them I'm still with, but the other one, even though he lives in Texas, we co-parent because we know we both didn't grow up with our fathers, and so we know the importance of having both parents, and also letting our personal to the side because it's not about us. When we broke up, at first we were, we had to navigate, kind of figure that out and take away all that hostility. And I feel like that's what a lot of people are lacking, that maturity to get past whatever relationship issues you had and come together to parent your kid, because that's what's important. So yeah, I believe in having both parents active, loving, there together, agreeing, even when they don't agree, having that compromise for what's best for your child at the end of the day.
Yeah, and then I wanted to add, Rod, even if the father is not available, my mentor Al Sharpton, his father left him for another woman, but he had adopted a godfather, and his name was James Brown. That's why Al Sharpton's hair is the way it is. People don't know why his hair is like that. It's because of his covenant, his relationship with James Brown. James Brown saying people were stealing his money in the 70s and 80s when he was on stage. And he told Al Sharpton when he took him to see Ronald Reagan at the White House, because they wanted to hear Living in America from the Rocky IV movie. He had said after he left, he said, Al, you're a good friend of mine. He said, but as a sign of your friendship and trust to me, he said, don't change your hairdo until I die.
Oh, wow.
And so people don't understand the covenant and the relationship that Al Sharpton had with James Brown. It ain't that he's the perm pimp. He has a relationship with James Brown, who once he had an afro before he went to the White House, James Brown told him to go and change your hair. I want Ronald Reagan to see a younger version and to know that soul music ain't going nowhere. And then another brother was Denzel Washington. I love Denzel. I'm a big Denzel fan. I just watched this movie the other night, but he didn't really have his father active, so he went to the Boys and Girls Club. And I think it was a show on Oprah where they brought the guy that was at the Boys and Girls Club out to see Denzel. He hadn't seen him in years. And every year, Denzel Washington, from my information that I received, he donates back to the Boys and Girls Club. Right. So, so it's, even though the father's not available, it's imperative that the parent
or a male figure.
Get a male figure.
So let me ask you something, Kev, because Kev, you're a father, you're an active father, and you're active with your kids very much so. You know what I mean? You do the trips, everything. You know what I'm saying? So how important do you feel like it is? Because I guess coming from that particular standpoint, it'll be different because you have to come with a protective mechanism as well too, by being a dad. So how do you feel about the dynamic between the two?
I mean, for me, it's the most important thing. It's the most important hat that I wear. I'm a lot of things to a lot of people, but I'm only a father to 3 people.
Right.
So I want to make sure that they know that I'm going to do everything I can, and I'm going to instill all the goals, all the morals that I hold, my principles. They're going to travel and see the world. They're going to experience the good, the bad, the ugly. I have candid conversations with them. I want them to have their own voice. I always encourage them to be leaders, to not follow just what they see. I catch them watching TikTok videos and all these little videos that everyone watches, and I always ask them, like, why do you watch this? To give them an opportunity, because there's a sphere of influence. No matter if I'm here or not, there's always an outside sphere of influence.
Right.
And I think too many times people overlook that. They don't see how detrimental it can be. I know Mr. Barnett has spoke about the music. Yeah, I could listen to Young Thug. I can know all the words, but I don't internalize it. A lot of times they look at the imagery because kids are visual and they're auditory. These are ways that people learn. So they're learning the lingo, the slang, they have, the movements. They want to be perceived a certain type of way. And as you mentioned, the kind of the 3 classes of people, nobody wants to be seen as a Carlton because we've been told that Carlton wasn't cool.
Right.
He's not cool. Will was cool, but Will came from the struggle. So he always had to be torn in between being true to the life that he was born into and trying to transition to the life that he has been given.
True.
And it's tough. It's tough. So I sit here every day and I try to be a person that my kids can decompress to. Whatever they're going through, talk to me about it.
Right.
I've experienced a lot in my 39 years on earth, and all of us here, our parents are, the first class of people who got to go to school after segregation. So it's not that long ago. We're talking 60 years. So it's not, we may be the second or third generation, depending on how fast people were, that are actually being able to say, okay, it's a level playing field, but it'll never be level until we take action, until we build our strength, until we put the right values in our children, to try to, we can't prevent everything that's going to happen to them, but we can prevent how they handle it. It's never what you call the answer to. And, I watched the video when you mentioned Tyree Nichols. I watched the video and, here's a kid fighting for his life. And, people have that fight or flight mentality, and he ran. And when they caught up to him, it got very damaging. This man can't tell his own story. So it's kind of hard to have your story told for you if you're not there to tell it. So we have to use whatever words they want to put out there, whatever imagery they want to share of you. They never find a picture of you graduating from high school. They find a picture of you throwing up gang signs, making gun fingers, doing, these different things to paint you out to be a thug, to paint you out to be a criminal, to be a menace to society. They want to paint that picture. So my kids pull their pants up. They pull their pants up. They go outside. Nah, put a belt on. Because I don't want people to perceive you as anything other than what you are.
Right.
You will start. Go ahead.
It's funny you said that because you talked about those images and how they send those messages. I'm in Charlotte. I just left Cape Girardeau, Missouri. And there's a young lady out there named Latoya Parker. Her video went viral. She was just videotaping the cop, roughing up this brother. They end up going over to her and getting her, dragging her out the car and then tasing her in her hips, in her breasts, 7 times. They beat her up, just no reason. She still don't have a charge, y'all, which shows a problem. That's a problem. My attorney, Attorney Shabazz, is filing a lawsuit, but I went out there to initiate the press conference and the rally in front of the police department. They had it barricaded. They knew we were coming. But what was crazy, we created a flyer. She used one of my speaking pictures, and then she used her picture. I thought she had a neck brace on. I thought the picture was from when she got injured. She said, no, the media got that picture from me 5 years ago and put that on there to bring excitement to my case.
Wow.
So that picture that she took, I thought it was from the injury. Now she did get injured. She got tased. She's got a very little mobility in her arm because they tased her 7 times. But the way that they displayed it, you would think that she had broken her neck.
Yeah.
They went back and got
I thought she was. Yeah,
they went and got an old mug shot from 5 years ago and used that to spread across the country.
Wow.
And so I think they're very big on that. More white people got shot and killed by the police than black people this year, y'all.
I believe it.
But you don't see the stories. What makes it more exciting? When a white cop is shooting Michael Brown, when a white cop or a so-called cop is shooting Trayvon Martin, when a white cop is shooting Tamir Rice, when a white cop is choking Sandra Bland, when a white cop is shooting Walter Scott, when a white cop is shooting, all of the brothers that's been shot across this country,
right?
And so it brings excitement. And for CNN and other stations, I'm connected to a lot of these reporters. It brings ratings, and it's sad that they're making money off of displaying us in that manner.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not to cut you off. I was gonna, because that's a nice point that you've hit on, because the topic that a lot of people are afraid to touch on, I think it's called rage farming. They use those type of situations to breed so much rage to profit off of. Like, and it's just, as I sat and thought about it, I feel like that is true. Like, I don't know. Like, is it true?
It is
no,
true.
I think
if you got 600 white people that's been shot by the police, and we ain't seen one story, but you got 380, I think, of us that's been shot. Something wrong with that picture. We ain't seen one white man be shot down, hypothetically speaking, in the news. But we done see. Look how many. I'm gonna give you an example, and it's called subliminal messages. Look how many times that we've seen them put their knee. That cop put his knee on George Floyd. Look how many times they showed over and over again Eric Garner being choked for selling cigarettes in New York City. How many times are we going to see Sandra Bland's mugshot where they say she was dead in the jail cell? How many times are we going to see Tamir Rice be shot in that playground at the age of 12? How many times are we going to see Walter Scott get shot in his ass in South Carolina? How many times did they run that? The more they run it, the more it brings excitement. And it brings excitement for us because we become angry. But white folks, them racist right-wing cats, is celebrating.
Exactly.
So nothing much has changed, y'all. Y'all got to understand me. If y'all don't hear nothing else I say tonight, listen to me clearly. When we came over here as slaves, we had shackles on, right? Shackles have been replaced for handcuffs. When we came over here and landed on Plymouth Rock, like Malcolm X say, Plymouth Rock landed on us, they used to whip us with slaves, not to kill us, but to put us back in check. They got rid of the whip, and they created something called the taser. Now, they used to have plantation houses where the slaves would work in the inside the house, and the house Negroes would work in the inside. You house Negro, field Negroes. We don't have plantation house. We got the courthouse. The courthouse has Negroes that y'all know when they get them jobs at the courthouse, they be acting like a house Negro, right? They got that badge, the whole nine. And then you got the field Negroes, which is us doing the chain gang work release. Now, let me drop this bomb on y'all. You remember how white folks used to display us? Watch this. Used to display us getting tortured, getting burned. They would throw hot tar on us. Then they would hang us. Then they would have a spectacle and a celebration. Then some whites would shoot certain body parts off of a slave. They would tell them to run. And they would save these body parts and use them as frames. I just found out the other day, my friend Anthony Brown, who's on here, he may be texting back and forth or chatting with you all.
Yeah.
It said that they just gave the skull back, y'all, of Nat Turner to the family. They just gave the skull back. A white family had been passing it down from generation to generation. We killed this nigga. We gonna hold on to a skull. They just gave a skull back to the family. So what am I saying in reference to those images, my sister? It's the same spectacle that they did when them white men would hang black men and they would be pointing up there at them black men. It's the same spectacle. It just wasn't on the TV back then. Now it's on the TV.
Right.
Don't y'all ever sleep on that.
Right. So they use it to keep us separated, first of all, because I mean that does keep people who are in a certain financial bracket separate.
Right. I mean, cut you off, not to keep us separated, to keep fear in us that I won't go to Missouri and stand in front of this police department, to put fear on us that I won't go fight for Emmett Till in Bowling Green, Kentucky, to put fear in us that I won't go and stand in front of the sheriff department this weekend in Mississippi. It's fear, my brother. That's why they would hang them and let us see it. It's totally fear that they put in us. And guess what? Some of us is falling for the old trick, for the banana in the tailpipe, Eddie Murphy.
Well, so what do you suggest people to do? Knowing that social media now is a tool, if you were to think about, just hypothetically, you know, implement some sort of plan or like a starting point.
I got you. I got one. I already know what you're going to say.
What?
You subscribe to Roland Martin because I send him money every month and I turn off Fox News. I support Ra and start watching him because he's going to give me the real news in my neighborhood. And I cut off MSNBC because Al Sharpton's on there making $500,000 a year. And I don't really see him in the streets no more with me. I love him to death. I don't see him. 500,000. That's a $500,000. Y'all do the math. I'm going to work out every morning at 6 o'clock. I'm going to be comfortable. Dr. King got $50,000 when he won the Nobel Peace Prize. Y'all know what that Negro did? That Negro gave the money back to the Civil Rights Movement and didn't buy a Cadillac. And he had $1,000 in the bank when he died. Sacrifice. You turn off these stations that have all of this power. And what happens is, think about it. CNN got 4 million views. They ain't all white. It's us. Tavis Smiley, they bought BET. Viacom bought BET. What's the first thing they did? Get rid of Tavis Smiley. He educating the blacks. That's the first thing they did, Viacom. They got rid of Tavis Smiley. And so it's imperative that we tune into black media and quit allowing Fox News to dictate what we should do or what we shouldn't do. Very important. I don't listen to them.
That's a fact. We got to get the news.
I've been on CNN twice this year, but I don't watch CNN like that.
Right. Well, you got a different reason for being in these platforms as well, too, because like you said, you got to get the message out. And, you know, but at the end of the day, like CJ was saying, though, like if they using this to incite us to be, you know, angry all the time, I mean, in my humble opinion, I think that's what puts us in a bond because, you know, that one emotion, anger, is what keeps everything separated when it comes to relationships, all kind of relationships. Once a person get mad or once a person gets into their feelings, then there's no way that they can communicate. There's no type of compromise that can happen. But the good thing is that even with what you were suggesting as solutions, at least that's an opportunity for us to come up with something to try to change it. So like what you were saying earlier, like what you were just saying about, you know, us being able to figure out these things, like we gotta kind of figure out the tactics that's being used against us. So in what way do we help to build this information like baseline that we need? Because like you said, tuning into black media, but hey, trying to get people to come listen to us without being considered conspiracy theorists.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because we get that label all the time for us being able to drop basic knowledge that we learn.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
We have to be relentless in tapping into the powers that be, which means October 7th and 8th, they're going to be in Atlanta doing the reparations. It's about 60 to 70 organizations. Perfect platform for us to talk about leveling the playing field in media, right? A second way, and again, me and you might not have the ability, Rod. We might not have the resources, but we need to create an organization or a group to tap into that. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. When you look at how powerful the music industry is,
right?
I have a friend named BJ Murphy, right? He was personality on the radio here at Power 98 in Charlotte. My cousins know him and Larry, right? And he said, John, I said, why don't you play more R&B music? Why y'all playing all this rap music? He said, John, if the 13 to 17-year-old would ask for it, we would play it. So we have to keep playing this rap music over and over and over again because that's what the consumer wants. But it's also orchestrated by the Jews that own ABC, CBS, and ABC. ABC, CBS, and NBC, right? So if they own this, they're looking at the numbers, and all they got to do is keep drilling that music in our head, so all we hear is filth. And 1982 was the best time for us. 1982, 85. You know why? Michael Jackson Thriller was on the radio. We didn't have a bunch of crack in our neighborhood. They were smoking weed. Hello, right? We had family reunions. We went to church. We had cookouts. We cared about one another. If somebody's light bill was off, we'd go and give them some money to pay for it. Nowadays, if somebody's lights off, you put it on YouTube and laugh about it. We don't do family reunions. Right? We're split up in different communities. Everybody moving downtown Charlotte and downtown Atlanta. So my point is that they've been very strategic in separating us. But it's imperative that we go back. Everything I do, I try to think, what will my grandma do in 85? What my daddy do in 85? Because I know this ain't right. Ain't no black men in the church. In 85, all you seen was deacons and trustees. Ain't no black men in the church. Not Jamal Bryant and not my church. 80% women. And it's a reason why that is. So my point is that we have to contact the powers that be. We got to tap into those resources. Like I've tapped into the Department of Justice. I blow their phone up. Y'all gonna get rid of these 6 deputies down here in Mississippi, Miss Kristen Clark. You ain't been the first black attorney general, assistant attorney general, and you ain't gonna do your job. She came down there. We displayed pictures of these boys being lynched, beat, and tortured while she was speaking. She had no choice but to look over at us and see these big ass poster sizes of images of men in the hospital fighting for their life. 5 days later, 7 days later, she put pressure on the Department of Justice to lock those deputies up. So that's a perfect example, Ron. Hit the powers that be.
Gotcha.
That's how you got to do
Gotcha.
it. And you got to do that collectively. Not just all these. So you need CJ, Meek, you need Kev, we know everybody on here to hit the powers that be. It's imperative.
That's right. I just want to piggyback on that as well. I also want to commend you for the work that you're doing. I went and watched a couple of videos leading up to this. I think that aspect of it is missing. Everybody can get angry. Everybody can get angry. We can sit in our little circles in our house, at work, in a break room, whispering amongst each other. You know, oh man, F this, F that. They wouldn't do me like that. Can't believe this is, it's an injustice. Okay. But the legal system is there for a reason.
That's right. That's right. You're exactly right.
That's the thing. Like we always make jokes. Like there's, oh, I'm going to write a letter. Write that letter.
That's right.
Write that letter because it has to be responded to.
You're exactly right.
There are formal ways to file complaints. File that complaint. If I go out right now and an officer beat me down, we filing a complaint. I'm not going to win right there in the spot with that officer.
That's right.
But I can have his badge and his pension.
Yeah. Kev, I'm so glad you said that. Last year in Charlotte, North Carolina, I walked about 32 people to the police department. Women who were going through domestic violence, getting beat up by their boyfriend, they stalking them because they so in love. People who have been victimized, people who were victim of hate crimes. I would walk them to the Internal Affairs Office because they didn't know what the hell the Internal Affairs Office was. And because I took them to the Internal Affairs Office, they did a thorough investigation, and over half of those people got justice because they went down there and filed a complaint with a letter. We're talking about letters. I wrote Al Sharpton 3 times, y'all. It was in 2001. I went in Jet magazine, got a picture of him in his perm, and I taped it to the back of the envelope. And I sent 3 letters symbolic to my brother being shot 3 times in my back. And he wrote me back. Speeding up to 2022, last year, Shankrella Robinson case it wasn't trending anymore. The family got the GoFundMe and the whole 9, and it just wasn't trending. I said, let's send some pink letters to the White House. And let's send some pink letters to Mexico and let them know we mad that they ain't locked up these 6 people for murdering this girl on film. Guess what happened?
Right.
We got a visit to the White House. Joe Biden knows Shankrella Robinson's name, and Mexico knew who we are. And now I got Ben Crump's cell number because I sent a pink letter to the White House.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha.
And he gave us Sue Ann Robinson, who's over our case. So
that's the thing.
The little things mean a lot.
That's the thing. Like they said, closed mouths don't get fed. And I think that's the most important part about that. It's like, because a lot of people think that writing those letters or making those calls don't matter. It's like, I know that we ain't talking about this, but it's the same thing with your credit. A lot of people don't know that they could clean their credit up or get things off of their credit that's holding them back just by writing a letter or making a phone call.
That's
you know what I mean? Because a lot of things that they report be discrepancies because you never gave permission for these people to do that in the first place. But a lot of people don't know that. They think they got to sit in whatever it is that's affecting them, and they feel like that's holding them back when they could just do that. So that's another thing that we got to encourage, which is super dope. Like people actually taking the time to reach out to these people or whoever they feel like is a necessary a person to reach out to. So that's what I want to ask. So like when it comes to you, like all the things that you may do for people when it comes to, their civil rights being violated, is there anything that you do as far as like outside of that scope as well too? Are you doing things in the financial sector for people, helping them build? Is there things in like a more community base where with building things, or what do you got going on outside of just the civil rights actual part of it?
Well, actually, believe it or not, I'm really big on what you just talked about, which, lately, I think credit is important. I think people need to make sure they use the correct resources to get their credit repaired. But as far as what I'm doing, I do a lot of structural work, which means if something's out of place, like for instance, I don't just do civil rights. I do wrongful terminations. Like people getting discriminated against on their job every single day. I got a lady call me this morning. She's been on the job 18 years and they've been messing with her. And so I think one thing that I've been doing is just really showing people where to go. So I'm like an outlet for people. And so if you're going through discrimination on your job, you need to go to the EOC. I won 5 cases last year and we got money. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I asked, because you just never know. It's conversations that be had and things that be going on, and then boom, I asked, and then look at that. So we gotta make sure that we chop it up a little bit after the show. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's some information that we could pass on. But definitely, I think that's important to know, because a lot of people are dealing with things on their jobs, and they be going to HR to try to help with that scenario, but it doesn't always work out. There's some people who got really solid cases to defend themselves about what they're dealing with when it comes to their job, and then still have to reap the repercussion of what that particular supervisor or whatever has access to. So we feel like that, like we shouldn't have to go to work, or no one should have to go to a job and be pressured about the job that they have to do in order to support their family. Like people abuse their power each and every day in these positions. So it's good that you said that, because like I said, a lot of people wouldn't know that there's people with information that can help you with that, even though they're not in your HR.
Yep. I had a nurse in Charlotte that was going to the doctor for 3 to 4 years. She was going to a neurologist. And the doctor got to the point where he just wrote on her doctor slip, your job is directly affecting your health. He had to write it on there. I watched her get walked out after 7 years of working for this racist hospital in Charlotte, Novant. I'm still mad about this case, because I remember this sister with tears in her eyes, but she had bought that home and that car. And she didn't do anything wrong. They just didn't want a black nurse working for them. Now, I want y'all to Google this song when y'all get off the air. Stevie Wonder has a song that's on his Hotter Than July album, and the song is called Cash in Your Face. And the hook goes, you might have the cash, but you can't cash in your face. And he talks about people struggling to get a job, trying to get an apartment. And it's a deep song, but it's the reality of today. So what happens is in North Carolina, there's a right to work state. So it means you got a right to work, go to work, and you got a right to stay your ass at home, right? So the reality of that is that they can fire you if your shoes are not tied. And that's what they're doing. They're relentlessly firing people, and people don't know where to go. About 80 people called me last year going through discrimination on their job. I sent probably 80-90% of them to the EOC. 10 might have won their case, where I had to mediate and beat these racist companies down for money, pennies, 50,000, 60,000 to my client or for my client. But I will tell you this, we can't put all our eggs in a basket. You got this outlet, get you some sponsors to support your show, even if you buy some Starbucks tomorrow off that show. So I'm gonna plug you in a minute. You know, I do marketing for Sunshine Anderson, the whole nine, right? So watch this. This is how we do it. You got to understand that there was 4, TD Jakes talked about this, and I'm not a big TD Jakes fan at all. But anyway, he talked about this financial seminar. He said there was 4 rivers, y'all, going into the Garden of Eden. Y'all gonna love this, right? 4 streams, north, east, Kev, west, south, right? East, west, north, and south. And he had said that your financial income need to be the same way, right? So which means you need at least 3 to 4 forms of income, so that if one of the streams get cut off, or 2 of them, you still got something coming in. I give you 2 examples. Steve Harvey has 4 checks. He got the Steve Harvey collection. He got the Family Feud. He got his books that he sells, and then he got his morning show. Usher Raymond has 4 streams. He got the music industry. He signed Justin Bieber. He has Usher Cologne, and he has a nonprofit organization called Good Look in Atlanta. 4 streams, along with other things that he got going. I'm just naming 4. So when you see people that have those 4 streams, Puff Daddy has music. He has Sean John Clothing. He's selling Ciroc liquor, and now he got Revolt TV. 4 streams, y'all. So my point is that don't put all your eggs in the bucket. Don't think this lady that come this morning that job is gonna be there forever. You in your 18th year, boo, they about to fire you because you black and you got seniority. I told her this morning, They are planning to fire you, and I didn't bite my tongue. So now tomorrow I'll be sending a letter to HR because she's been trying to fight the case with HR in the inside. Girl, you fooling with the inside. You can't stop a house from burning from the inside. You got to go on the outside. Let me send a letter to them and let me send you to the Atlanta EEOC office, which is full of black folks, and get you some help. That's what I'm gonna do for her tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Gotcha. That's empowerment. And so that's key. But understand those 4 things. People on these jobs and they devastated. They lost their house, their car. Why? You done put all your eggs in one basket. And even if you get a part-time job, used to do prepaid legal. They said eventually you're gonna realize that the money you make with prepaid legal is gonna get you off your job. I was working at a group home, y'all, keeping kids at night and doing prepaid in the evening. And the money that prepaid was giving me was surpassing my check. So eventually I said, I'm leaving this job. I left the job, started doing prepaid, but then I said prepaid, all they doing is getting $35 from me. Or I'll get it from somebody. I send it to Oklahoma. They give me a lawyer in Charlotte. I said, let me get rid of this. I'm gonna do a Puff Daddy Uptown move, right? You know, he left Uptown Records and did his own thing, right? He started Bad Boy Entertainment. I got rid of the lawyers. I started having lunch with lawyers downtown Charlotte. You want to give you the names? Eric Montgomery, Timothy Smith. I'm doing shameless plug right now to all my lawyers in Charlotte, right? Brother Dixon, RJ Dixon, Benjamin Crump, Johnny Cochran's office in LA. And now your boy is connected to 35 lawyers in 15 states. I don't need prepaid. Now they donate back to my cause so I can keep fighting civil rights. That's how you empower yourself. So I got rid of prepaid and I got rid of the group home, and now I ain't clocked in 17 years, and I love my job. Because people call me, I'm the 911 for black folks, and I send them to the lawyer. And it's an amazing feeling when I wake up in the morning and I don't know who's gonna call me. People calling me from Wichita, Kansas this morning. I ain't never been no damn Wichita, Kansas, but I'm about to call a mother back and give her some help.
That's a fact, yo. That's what we like, you know. That energy, yo. That energy is crazy right now. I like you got me over here, like, yo. Listen, yo, I'm about to start writing this in my little notebook. Listen, I'm about to hit Meek on the low, like, hey, yo, Meek, I need a planner, yo, for real.
Yeah.
Like, let's get
got you. Let me.
Listen,
yeah, we got to do that.
Little notebook strike. I want the notebook lines because I still write like a doctor. I need to make sure I keep it in the line, yo. But nah, but for real though,
but real talk. All 5 of us on a conference call in 48 hours, so we can use each other's resources. See, you got to realize everybody is just a step away from success, but they have to be in place or in position to be in contact with that person to take them to the next step. Point at hand. Michael Jackson knew how to sing before he met Quincy Jones, but he didn't have Eddie Van Halen's cell number. Quincy Jones did. He didn't have Vincent Price's number on Thriller. Quincy Jones did. He didn't have James Ingram's song that wrote PYT. Y'all know I got a photographic memory. He wrote PYT, right? So he didn't have James Ingram's song. And then he didn't have Paul McCartney's number, who sung with the Beatles, which was the first song on the track called The Girl Is Mine with the number 1. Shameless plug on Quincy, because Quincy used the white boy to push Thriller to the moon. Y'all will catch that tomorrow. So he didn't have those numbers. Quincy Jones did. He gave those resources to Michael, and then they sold 100 million records together. So all of us collectively, we can't try to hinder one another. If we learn one day that a fear of a black planet that Public Enemy talked about, fear of the black planet, the only fear they got, y'all, is that me and Mika and CJ and Kev and Rob get together one day. But if they can keep us separated like the black blocks in between our faces right now, then they're winning. But the fear of a black planet is us coming together in unity. That's the biggest fear in America. Period.
Yep, and that goes back to the whole separation talk. Everything that they do to keep us separated versus allowing our mindsets, you know, well, I ain't gonna say our, but in the sense of who our community representatives are, they don't have the mindset to be leaders anymore. Mm-hmm. So, yo, I definitely appreciate all the jewels you dropped on here today, because we need that type of energy and to know that it is these type of resources out here. Because before tonight, I don't think a lot of people that's watching or whatever would have known that, yo, it's somebody that'll help fight for you in your job, outside your job.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I don't think a lot of people know that. Like, they literally to say, like, you know, I know that there's a way that I can fight my job outside my job. We all know HR.
That's right.
What I'm
that's
saying?
right.
Because that's what they're supposed to be. But just knowing that. But also, like you said earlier, the mindset of understanding the power of having multiple streams of income. Mm-hmm. A lot of times people walk in the door of their jobs with a certain attitude because that's the only place they got to get their paper from. So it's almost like if we could change the mindset of what we're doing for that, then that might help us on our job without being able to deal with the bullshit that people try. But sometimes people try you too much. You know what I mean? Like they try you like you ain't about that life. Like you ain't really seriously like one step away from just saying like, listen, I'll go pick up Uber and Lyft. I'll punch you in your face. But I think people don't get that.
Yeah,
I think they really forget that they manage in a process. They think they manage people, and that's the disrespect.
You're right. You know what I learned? You're right. You're exactly right, Rob. You dead on. You know what I learned about millionaires? The majority of millionaires made their money after hours. See, when Puff Daddy was in Uptown, he was mad and angry. But his private meetings with Biggie Smalls after 5 p.m. is when he really made his money. Right. So most millionaires are making their money after 5 p.m., not on the clock. And so that's what makes it successful. I think Steve Jobs, one of those guys, they only have a degree. Was it Elon Musk, one of those guys?
All
billionaire. Yeah, they don't have a college degree. You know, so I think it's imperative that, you know, we have to step outside the box, and it has to be taught. It can't be mama worked at the plant, so I'm gonna work at the plant, and my daddy worked at the plant. You know, my dad was a chef, y'all, and I had to have hair burnt off my hand in Lake Wiley, South Carolina, cooking food for rich white folks. And matter of fact, your boy's a chef. I'm a cook. Matter of fact, I call myself a sous chef, right? Because I can cook the sirloins and the crab legs, and I can do the lobsters. I mean, I did it. I had a spatula in my hand at the age of 8, and I thought that my life was going to be a cook until I realized I don't want to be in this kitchen. All the hair burnt off my hand. I'm gonna be serving these people that ain't really satisfied with this steak, and I'm so glad that I got to the point where I read Malcolm X's book, which led me to work with Reverend Sharpton. It got me to the place where I'm at now, because 73% of people in this country, Ra and Mika, in this country hate their job.
Yeah.
That's sad. 73% of people in this country hate their freaking job. Right. Michael Jackson said he loved his job. I love mine. I don't know where I'm going tomorrow.
I mean, yo,
I got Mississippi this weekend, right?
And your new job helped your hair grow back on your hands. So shit. I know you love your new job. Your hair back.
yeah. You know I do.
My hair ain't coming back. But I got to change my job. Maybe my hair come back.
Hey, I know, right? My grandfather.
It ain't coming back. It ain't coming back.
It ain't coming back. He got to get haircut from me in.
Look. You know, I knew it was one of them going to jump in, because you know they don't let me live like that. Because I be telling them like how I feel like I really could be on American Ninja Warrior, but they be hating, so we ain't gonna go there. But at the end of the day, I do want to thank you so much for jumping on, man. Because but before we, you know what I'm saying, before we wrap up,
we've been on an hour and 12 minutes. I'm about to start charging. I'm scared.
Nah, you good. But we gotta chop it up a little bit behind the scenes, Joe, because we got a few questions between the 5 of us. But before you go, I just need you to touch on a couple things, if you don't mind. If you don't mind, I just need you to repeat real quick to the people out there who do have a job, or people who are watching, to help them to understand that there is help for you in your job, outside of your job. You just have to, like, without whatever you're doing, I just feel like everybody that's dealing with an issue like that, sometimes we're made to be uncomfortable for a reason. And I know a lot of people don't want to see the spiritual in a lot of things that happen to them, but sometimes it's not injustice. Sometimes things happen to us to stir us up, for us to get on the right path. And a lot of times we're not meant to be comfortable at where we are. So things happen to us to stir us up, to make sure that we stay focused on the things that we're supposed to do, knowing that where we are is not where we literally are supposed to be. But I do get the same thing on the same end, that people do deal with injustice. You still shouldn't have to deal with bullshit going to work.
That's right.
You still shouldn't.
People are stressed out on their jobs, man.
And they going there for a purpose. They're not going there for the people that's there. They going there because they got responsibility.
Yeah. And what I tell people is, the problem ain't gonna go away. When you clock out Friday, that same supervisor's gonna be there with a pitchfork and horns on Monday morning at 9 o'clock. Yeah. That's a fact. So you got to get rid of that problem. So in saying that, in response to that, it's called the EEOC, which was established pretty much after Dr. King came up with this concept of getting us back in these restaurants and schools. It's the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. They need to use that. If not, they can contact me. I will show them how to. See, I love sending civil rights letters with Al Sharpton's name on it, and Ben Crump, and Willie Gary from Florida, billionaire. I mean, I love putting their names on these letters and sending them to these little redneck businesses that disrespect our sisters, because all they want to do is feed their children, right? I'm going to call a name, right? And so when I send those letters, they first say, think about it. Back to Kale's point, National Civil Rights Office, then send a letter and they want to talk to us about an employee going through discrimination, and he got a business card here from a lawyer. And on the right side, the board of directors and the members is Al Sharpton and Benjamin Crump. You think them Negroes ain't gonna open that letter? So what you have to do is you have to use the power of influence, clout, and intimidation, y'all. And that'll shake them up. Because even if they don't respond to my letter, I send a second one. Hey, second notice. Maybe y'all didn't get the first one, and I send it certified to make sure they sign for it. Maybe $2.37. Then if they don't respond to that third letter, I send the client to the EEOC, and I'll get them to fill out that form, and I help them fill it out. And then the EEOC, when they send a federal letter to the company, they're gonna have to respond in. So it's imperative that you quit fooling with HR. HR ain't never helped me get no Negro, no person fired. Period. Never. HR ain't never helped me do nothing. Maybe once or twice. Because they getting paid for by the company. So it is when you walk in that courtroom, Ron. I got to give this to you for free.
Right.
I like the Carolina Panthers because I'm from Charlotte. Y'all know we the best, right? Shout out to Cam Newton. Wish he come back, right? and there's a lot of Dallas Cowboy fans that's got real excited because they got 40-0 the other night, and y'all still ain't going to Super Bowl, right? So check this out. So when you walk into the courthouse, I want you all to visualize everybody being the Dallas Cowboys, and we are the Carolina Panthers. Now, what I mean by that, you'd be a fool to think the public defender got your best interest in mind. Why do I say that? Because the public defender, the judge, the prosecutor, the bailiff that checked you for a gun and a knife at the door, and the court reporter all get their check from the same bank. I'm gonna say that one more time. The public defender has to bill. That's why the lawyer say, the judge say, how many hours did you do? Oh, I did about 8 hours. So the same check that he gets comes from the same check that the person on the other side that's trying to lock your black butt up, he gets the same check from the same bank. If you're in Atlanta, it's the Capitol. If you're in North Carolina, it's Raleigh. If you're in South Carolina, it's Columbia. The same check. So you be a fool to think that public defender has got your ultimately best interest in mind. So it's imperative that you study the law yourself and tell the public defender, look, all I need you to do is do this, that, and the third. Do a prayer for judgment or do a deferred prosecution. That's some legal knowledge that y'all may not be aware of. It gets people out of trouble. And so in saying that, back to your point, yes, they need to contact that EEOC, empower themselves to know that they need to reach out, and they can contact us at 803-412-6854. We're on Instagram, Civil Rights _CEO. You're gonna see me jumping all over the place. I might be with Sunshine Anderson. The next day I might be with Benjamin Crump, but I love my job. You're gonna see me all over the place. And then on Facebook, on the Facebook, my name is John C. Barnett. And I didn't call myself this, the people there. They call me the Prince of Civil Rights. And I love my job.
Hey, yo, and that's dope, man. Yeah, Sunshine Anderson, she followed me the other day. I was like, all right, come on with it, yo.
Yeah. She probably seen me plugging you, and I gave her dad's watching us right now, believe it or not. Brother Rockman.
Ah, man.
That's my man all day. That's my godfather. He teach me how to eat right.
That's what's up, y'all. So listen, to all of y'all that's watching, man, like definitely it was a bunch of y'all that jumped on. I appreciate everybody who put in comments, who commented tonight. I think that was dope. And yo, we gotta have you back on, man. We're gonna have you back on because we're not finished with going on with LaDeja. We gotta come back on with an update. I'm actually gonna talk to her mother in a couple of weeks. I'm gonna have her on so we can just chop it up with her and get some things going on.
Okay.
I wanted to bring you guys on separate, even though I know you're working on that case, because I wanted the people to get a little bit more familiar on what it is to be a civil rights activist, because I think a lot of people feel like it's not something that's been helping us. And what I mean by that is not based on who the people we know, it's based on public perception of what we've been seeing.
That's right.
We know that it only happens when, it's high-powered cases or high-powered things that get national coverage. But the things that happen locally, there's nobody that they know or people know of that will come and fight for them. And the fact that, you are helping the fight for LaDeja and all of the people that in the situations like her, that gives a lot of hope to people. I hope that watch this program and watch the playback is, I'm gonna clip this up. We're gonna make this run. But that understand that there is somebody to call, there is somebody around. And like you said, you had somebody from Wichita call you. So if somebody watching us from, I don't even care. I don't care. Bumblebee, Missouri. I don't care where you from. If people from Wichita,
Kansas. Yeah,
you can hit them up. We could probably direct you in the right place. And
that's right.
Those lawyers and all those places is really dope.
That's right.
Too.
You're right. And Rod, that's how you use your platform to empower people. If I didn't hear nothing Minister Farrakhan said, Michael was a gifted individual. but he need to use his gift to uplift his people. Whitney
That's
Houston
right.
was a talented singer. You know, God bless her soul. But you need to use your gift to lift your people. What kind of fool would you be to go get a degree at Harvard, to go to the White House to marry a white woman, and you do nothing for your people? And I call that an insignificant Negro. And see, the insignificant Negro, he gets a fancy car and a nice house, but when he die, nobody's going to worry about him. They're going to drive his car up and down the road, and they're going to go by the house and say, that's where the insignificant Negro lives. If I didn't learn nothing else from my big boy, Reverend Sharpton, he said, the insignificant Negro. He said, the only thing that matters when you leave this earth, Rock, is what you do for somebody else. I don't care what Michael Jackson did in Never Never Land with them white boys. All I know is he gave 23 organizations. He in the Guinness Book of World Records for being the biggest humanitarian in the world. I don't care what Whitney did in that tub, that fateful night. But I know she sung the national anthem like no other Negro in this country. And the list goes on and on. Yeah. So that's what we remember. And so I want to make sure that when you wake up every morning that you make memories. And those memories is impacting somebody's life. If somebody needs something to eat and they on the street, give them a cracker. Give them a water. I'm in the point now, I'm putting umbrellas in my car. So when I come up on a homeless person that's raining, I throw the umbrella out at them to cover them up. Little things. Little things mean a lot. And you never know where your blessing comes from in doing that.
Man,
and
that's
so,
a fact, yo.
Yeah, so I'm just, again, I just want to make sure that when you do shows like this, that you empower the people and you inspire the people. And that's what you're doing on your show. That's what you're doing on your show. We try.
We do conversation. We do a conversational base on this show, on this platform, and we make sure that everybody's perspective is respected. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's one thing that we do. We don't argue. We get passionate, but we don't argue. You know what I mean? Like we go through because we understand that communication is the key to success in our community. We got to be able to learn how to communicate. We got to be able to learn how to communicate without being emotional too as well.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean? Like you can have passion without really, feeling like this person is attacking you. We don't want to be attacked for our opinion. You know what I mean? We want to be embraced for the fact that we individuals. We don't want to be like everybody else. And it's cool to person to say that what makes them different without another person trying to tell them that they wrong for being different. And I think that's where the conflict comes at when we have a lot of platforms where women and men have an equal balance on the show. Because sometimes it just be the ladies and me, but we still never argue. And I think that if anybody could look at that for anybody else that has a platform, they can understand. They can stop saying that all we do is argue with each other because we don't. You know what I mean? Even when we get passion, we still don't argue. So I feel like that's one good thing about the way that we maneuver. Hopefully, people will see that when they look at this platform and they watch us, they understand that, you know what I mean? We give it up. Like, we say what we say, but,
that's right.
We got respect for each other, and I think that goes a long way. Respect goes a lot longer than pride sometimes.
You're right, and I appreciate you having a balance. Yeah, I appreciate you having a balance. This show doesn't look like the View. All women. This show don't look like Kevin Samuels. May he rest in peace.
Right.
But keep that balance because then sisters can gravitate to the sisters, brothers can gravitate to brothers, and vice versa. So it's imperative that you keep it like this. And the only show I know is like that is they're on Fox News, whatever. Claudia Jordan and the other two brothers. I don't know if y'all seen that Fox Soul.
Right.
Yeah, but they have a show that's kind of balanced. But back to your point, I got to tell you this. You talked about civil rights people not knowing who to call. Today, the NAACP is like an old Black Baptist church, and I'm a member. And what that means, y'all, is, and it's very sad to say this, in Atlanta, Georgia, my former pastor was over the NAACP office, and the NAACP office has closed down. And I went to Athens, Georgia the other day because there's been 9 people have died in the Fulton County jail. The family said they were calling the NAACP office, and I Googled them, and it said closed. So what do I mean by a Baptist church? See, Black folks, young people, our age, 25 to 40, that's the audience that Joe Morrow Bryan has, because in order to have a mega church, you got to have 25 to 40. Don't get that twisted. T.D. Jakes had 25 to 40. But what happens is that the NAACP is like a Black Baptist church or Amy Zion church. Young people don't go there no more. So a couple of years ago, my pastor told me, former pastor Charles White, he said that 13,000 people did not renew their membership for the NAACP because they felt as though they wasn't doing nothing for them.
Wow.
And yet I get 60 calls a week, but I get 60 calls because I'm physical and I have a presence. And so the reality of that is I tell people all the time, Dr. King, Malcolm X, Reverend Sharpton, and Tupac and Whitney Houston all had something in common. You know what it was? Not
What's
Whitney Houston.
that?
I'm sorry. Gandhi, Dr. King, Malcolm X, Al Sharpton, and Jesse Jackson. They all had something in common. You know what they had in common?
What's that? It was about that action.
They were outside.
It was
Reverend
outside.
Sharpton would be the same Pentecostal preacher preaching at the age of 8 in Brooklyn if he didn't get mad at the deacon board for not doing nothing for the homeless people at 16. Jesse Jackson would be doing the same thing. Dr. King would still be behind his daddy in Georgia, patting him on the back saying, "Preach, Daddy," if he had not had a Rosa Parks experience. Shameless plug, Dr. King went full-time in civil rights 7 days after Rosa Parks was denied a seat on the bus, which means if she had went to the back of the bus, y'all, we wouldn't have no Dr. King. They were outside. So the NAACP, in the eyes of so many people, 13,000 people did not renew, which means 13,000, y'all do the math, their membership is $30. Mika, add that up real quick. You got 13,000 times 30, all right? That's the money to keep the office alive. So watch this. You mean to tell me in Atlanta, Georgia right now, that black people between 25 and 40 do not have an NAACP membership card, but they got a membership card to Magic City? Y'all do the math. They got a membership to Onyx. They got a membership to the strip club. Hell, they got a membership to Sam's Club, but they ain't got no membership to the NAACP. My grandma had one
but
in 1985.
Though, I think but you hit the nail on the head with that. It's because
all the way hit.
They don't do they haven't proven to us or shown us that they really outside no more. They're not
but you know
outside.
why? But it's two parts. You know why? Because we're not joining, and they're not addressing our needs. And that's what we have
people not joining to express the needs that are needed. Okay. Well, then I think that's something that we probably need to figure out a way that they can rally up to make people understand. Because it goes back, not to say to segue into the music business, but that's what they say about the academy. Like, yo, a lot of times a lot of people not getting things because they're not a part of it. So they're not making decisions.
That's right.
And that goes to a lot of other things too. That when it comes down to the thing, like if people don't actually put themselves together, they can't come up with the decisions. You know what I'm saying?
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
390,000, y'all.
So, and that's just for a year.
Mika moving slow in the numbers. You moving slow in the calculator. Moving slow.
Well,
Rodriguez dropped them numbers.
Mika, your mic muted, y'all.
Yeah, my bad. That was too big of numbers. I couldn't get there.
Okay, you're good.
Yes, he got us. Yes, he got us straight though. That's what's up.
I appreciate the efforts, but yeah, and I didn't mean to cut you off, Robert. You see the money, y'all? That's over $500,000. That's why there's no office in Atlanta. That's why there's no office in Mississippi. That's why I got to go to Mississippi. And Malik got to give me a cash app and some gas money to go to the hotel down there and to get to Mississippi because there's no NAACP there that's active. And it's just like my grandma's church. Ain't nobody going there no more. They had New Life and New This and New Center and they had Potter's House. They ain't transforming lives. It's just Negroes from another church that just fell up in the Potter's House. Farrakhan transforms lives for whatever ability that he has and the God that they believe in. Them boys was on crack, drugs, and shooting people. That's transformation. T.D. Jakes is a product of church members joining his church. Ain't no transformation in that. No disrespect. I'm just keeping it 100.
I mean, we know
and
that.
So what
I mean, you ain't saying that we don't know. We see it all.
Yeah,
you know, we do.
So what we have to do is we have to. So the NAACP, and I know we got to go. The NAACP, y'all, needs a Michael Jordan experience. Y'all gonna love this one too. What is a Michael Jordan experience? How can the NAACP get young people between 25 and 40 to join? Let me tell you, hip hop music. What's a Michael Jordan experience? Nobody knows the CEO of Hanes Underwear and Gatorade or Ballpark Franks. All three endorsed by Michael Jordan. Why did they put Michael Jordan on the front of a damn Ballpark Frank hot dog? So they can generate numbers. Why has they got Michael Jordan drinking Gatorade? So they could generate numbers. Why is Hanes using his face to sell underwear? I guess I'm on right now. Numbers. We don't even know who the CEO of Hanes and Gatorade is. But we see Michael Jordan's face. And because of his face, we're going to go by it. So the NAACP needs to get a Michael Jordan. They need to have a Michael Jordan experience. Y'all need to get Kanye West. Y'all need to get some kind of positive rapper like Killer Mike to endorse y'all so the young people can embrace them because they ain't joining. So y'all need a Michael Jordan experience and y'all need a makeover. And I love the NAACP. I'm a member.
but they ain't generating the numbers I'm generating. I get at least 30 members a month, y'all. It a minimum of that. Sometimes 2-3 people a day. I'm serious. 25. I can show you applications. I got more members than the NFCP in 3-4 local cities around me, and they're just not joining because they're not active. Maybe they tired. Maybe they're a little older. Most of the pastors and presidents, most of the presidents are pastors. You got to get that youthful energy. And I'll close in saying this: Malcolm X and Dr. King was 39 years of age when they died. They wasn't 79. We got to understand that. You need somebody young to push this movement.
That's what's up. So y'all, all of y'all watching, and all of y'all that's gonna watch the playback, you know what I'm saying? Definitely, y'all know that if you want any type of change, like the brother John said, man, I mean, it's effective in writing letters, it's effective in making phone calls, and also certain organizations, like we said, the NAACP, if there's change that need to be had, because we probably need to show up in numbers to be a part of these organizations that help affect change from the inside, then there's an opportunity for us to kind of, communicate and get that in, I guess, for most people that may have the mindset like, oh, I don't think that's going to work, or it ain't worked so far, maybe we just got to change the way we think and get the right amount of people in there, and then we can make some shape, because we do need people in certain positions that can help, maneuver some things around. We need people in city council. We need people in the zoning offices in these communities, in these counties, so we could be able to get the most out of this land when we start to buy it and stuff like that. So I don't know. I just think it's important, and I do appreciate y'all. And John, I do appreciate you jumping on, chopping it up.
Thank y'all. I want to come back.
Yeah, definitely. And dropping all that knowledge and letting everybody know the things that they didn't know, that they had opportunity to figure out. I think that was super dope. All of y'all, make sure y'all go follow my man John C. Barnett. And then say your IG again, because I think it has
IG is Civil Rights _CEO. I started my own civil rights organization.
All right.
Want to do it?
Civil Rights _CEO. Civil Rights _CEO. Y'all follow him on Instagram. Y'all see what the brother's been doing. Y'all see what he's been doing, and see what he got going on now. Like he said, reach out to him. He dropped his number. Also DM him if y'all got certain questions that y'all need answered. You know what I'm saying? Just follow up with the brother and let's try to get some things going. Because if you're dealing with any type of injustice anywhere, and like we learned today, even on your job, there's an answer for that. So let's just try to figure it out, y'all, and let's get these multiple streams of income going in, get that mindset going on too. So like he said, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
That's right. So we'll be in Jackson, Mississippi this Monday and Tuesday. Atlanta, Georgia, October 7th for the reparations convention. So
there it is. All right, Kev, what you got coming on? You got anything coming up?
Travel. I'll be traveling. Y'all see the pictures.
All right, there you go. C-Double, what we got going on?
Per use, preview.career. Again, once you go ahead and access the landing page, we'll send you more information. It is a job platform that pretty much shows immersive day in the life videos to see if not only you're able or you're capable of pursuing these careers, but if the culture match. So again, www.preview.careers with an S at the end. So I've been spelling it wrong this entire time, so my apologies, guys. But with the S at the end, and we'll be more information.
No doubt, y'all. That's what we talking about. Business empowerment. Yeah, we need that. Meet, what's going on with you?
Y'all know, like I always say, follow me on Facebook. I'm just out here trying to get my group together, my tribe together, because I'm ready to hit somebody's stage and do this empowerment movement that I'm trying to do. So I'm just networking, trying to get some contacts and see who wants to help me build up some women and get them feeling right. That's what I do. Anybody need any planners, journals, notebooks, let me know. Personalize, whatever you need, I got you.
What city y'all in? What city y'all in, Ron?
Raleigh.
We out in Raleigh.
Everybody in Raleigh?
Yeah.
Man, y'all got Atlanta swag. I thought y'all was in Atlanta.
Oh, nah.
I thought y'all was in Atlanta, for real.
Yeah, we just got that energy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see that.
Big city energy where we go. You know what I mean?
So definitely shout out to LaDeja Nelson. Been in jail for almost 5 years, falsely accused. So we're going to be doing a press conference. Matter of fact, the 14th, I think this week. Yeah, this week. So we're going to be doing a press conference in Raleigh. So I got to definitely let you know about that.
Right. And that's why I'm going to talk to her mom after that, like a week after that. And I think they had a trial date kind of set, it looks
Yeah.
like. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So
Playing game.
we're gonna figure it out, because I know it ain't too much that we can talk about the trial, but we're gonna give her a
That's right.
platform for her to at
So,
least be able to get out how she feels and what she's been dealing with going
Yeah.
through this type of as a parent. You know what I mean? Going through these
Yeah.
this
So when I
situation.
come to Raleigh, we all got to eat. We got to go out to
Oh,
eat, y'all,
man,
for real.
you already know,
All right.
man. Yeah,
It's
just
on
let
me.
me
It's
know.
on
I
me.
love food. I love
It's
I
on me.
food.
get the
So I'm
crew
in there.
together, and you said the magic word to CJ
Yeah.
I'm
and
there.
Tamika.
I know they love food, right?
Oh man, what are you talking about?
Yes.
They
Listen,
crunk now.
look, you said the right thing. They about
I
to
know,
eat as
right?
soon as we get off.
Yeah.
So with all of
It's
y'all
on me.
that's watching, again, like I said all the time, man, I appreciate y'all, man. Make sure that y'all check out everything we have going on. You can catch all three of them on Collective Visions, one on Facebook, and you can catch us on Team Collective TV as well. You can catch all the content, all the skits, everything that we got going on. Y'all can check that out. We definitely appreciate y'all. We also know that some people been hitting me up and asking me how can they support the show, which is super dope. I'm thankful, you know, because like I said, you just never know. Like you said, closed mouths don't get fed, and I don't be asking. So the fact that people even, you know, hit me up like, yo, Rod, how can we do that? I think it's dope. So y'all can always hit us up on the link tree. We have a
Okay.
donation button up there. If
Text
y'all
me
want to
that.
donate to the platform or any of that, that's cool. All it does is go right back into the platform right now, and we just gonna help build it up. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do. We need advertising and things like that, so that's where it's going. You know what I mean? So definitely appreciate y'all for inquiring on how y'all could do that for those of y'all that's been watching. And yeah, like I say all the time, man, y'all know how we do, man. Sparking Conversation each and every Tuesday. We out here, we giving y'all our commentary, and we gonna keep it going, man. And until next time, don't forget, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. Y'all hang on real quick, but the rest of y'all, double salute until next week, man. Don't hurt nobody.
That'll be good.